Imagine a woman who didn't just inherit a kingdom, but rewrite the destiny of the entire Mediterranean. History often remembers her for her beauty, but beauty was her least dangerous weapon. She was a polyglot who spoke 9 languages, a naval commander, a Harvard-level political strategist, and the only person in the ancient world who made the Roman Senate tremble with genuine fear. This is not a tragic romance. This is the story of the last Pharaoh, the woman who played the ultimate game of thrones and almost won it all. The year is 48 BC. Alexandria is a city of marble and fire, and Cleopatra is a queen in exile. Her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, has driven her into the desert, surrounding himself with advisors who want her dead. She is 21 years old, penniless, and trapped. But while her brother waits for her to fade away, Cleopatra is watching the horizon. She knows that the Roman Civil War has just arrived on her doorstep in the form of Julius Caesar. The world's most powerful man is currently staying in the royal palace of Alexandria, and he is the only one who can put her back on the throne. But there is a problem. Her brother's guards have the palace under lockdown. Anyone attempting to reach Caesar will be executed on sight. This is where the legend begins. Cleopatra doesn't march with an army. She arrives in a sack of laundry, or as some tell it, a high-end carpet. She is smuggled past the guards, carried through the halls, and unrolled at the feet of the Roman dictator. Imagine Caesar's face. He expects a diplomat or an assassin. Instead, he finds a young queen, disheveled but radiating an almost supernatural confidence. In that single moment, the fate of Egypt and Rome is fused together. She doesn't ask for mercy. She offers a partnership. She needs his legions. He needs her wealth. Egypt is the breadbasket of the world, the wealthiest land on earth, and Cleopatra is the only one who knows how to unlock its treasures. Caesar is captivated not just by her face, but by her mind. Within weeks, her brother's army is crushed. Ptolemy XIII is at the bottom of the Nile, and Cleopatra is the undisputed ruler of Egypt. But the throne is just the beginning. She knows that to keep Egypt independent, she must become more than a client queen. She must become an empress. She follows Caesar to Rome, living in a villa across the Tiber. The Roman elites are horrified. They see a foreign harlot influencing their leader. But Cleopatra is playing a different game. She is watching how power works in a republic, learning the weaknesses of the men who claim to rule the world. She bears Caesar a son, Caesarion, the little Caesar. She is building a dynasty that would unite the East and the West. But then the Ides of March happens. The daggers of the Senate find Caesar's heart, and Cleopatra's world collapses into chaos. She flees Rome under the cover of night, returning to an Egypt that is now surrounded by hungry Roman generals. The Roman Empire is now split between 2 men, the young, calculating Octavian and the charismatic, battle-hardened Mark Antony. Cleopatra knows she must choose a side, and she chooses the man who controls the East. Their meeting at Tarsus is the greatest piece of political theater in human history. She arrives on a ship with purple sails, silver oars, and the scent of exotic perfumes that can be smelled miles away. She isn't just a queen, she is appearing as the goddess Aphrodite herself. Antony, a man of simple pleasures and grand ego, is instantly overwhelmed. But this wasn't just a love affair. It was a cold-blooded geopolitical alliance. Cleopatra provides the gold and the ships Antony needs to conquer the Parthians. In exchange, Antony returns Egyptian territories that had been lost for centuries. Together, They form the Inimitable Livers, a court of legendary luxury. But behind the banquets, they are building a superpower. Cleopatra is no longer just defending Egypt, she is expanding it. She begins to issue coins where her face is on one side and Antony's on the other. She is signaling to the world that the era of Rome's solitary dominance is over. Back in Rome, Octavian is terrified. He doesn't fear Antony's sword as much as he fears Cleopatra's influence. He begins a propaganda war, painting her as a sorceress who has drugged a Roman general into treason. He realizes that if he doesn't stop her now, the capital of the world might move from Rome to Alexandria. The tension builds for years. A slow-burning fuse that finally reaches the powder keg at the Battle of Actium. The sea off the coast of Greece is filled with hundreds of warships. It is the largest naval confrontation the ancient world has ever seen. On one side, Octavian's disciplined fleet. On the other, the combined forces of Antony and Cleopatra. The stakes are everything. If Cleopatra wins, her son Caesarion will rule as the heir to both Caesar and the pharaohs. The Roman Republic will die, replaced by a Greco-Egyptian empire. But as the battle rages, something goes wrong. Communication breaks down. Cleopatra's squadron sees an opening and retreats, and Antony, in a moment of madness or desperation, leaves his men and follows her. The dream of an empire is shattered in a single afternoon. They flee back to Alexandria, but the walls are closing in. Octavian is coming, and he doesn't want a treaty. He wants Cleopatra in chains to be paraded through the streets of Rome as a trophy. For a year, Cleopatra prepares for the end. She builds a massive tomb, filling it with gold, silver, emeralds, and ebony. She experiments with poisons, looking for a way out that is both certain and dignified. She knows that the game is over, but she refuses to let Octavian write the final chapter. In 30 BC, Octavian's troops enter Alexandria. Antony, believing Cleopatra is already dead, falls on his sword. He is brought to her tomb, bleeding out, and dies in her arms. Now, Cleopatra is alone. She is 39 years old, a captive in her own palace. Octavian visits her, hoping to keep her alive for his triumph in Rome. He sees a broken woman, but he underestimates her one last time. Cleopatra is a pharaoh, and a pharaoh does not walk behind a Roman chariot. The final scene is shrouded in mystery and myth. A basket of figs is brought to her room by a loyal servant. Hidden inside, according to legend, is an Egyptian cobra, the symbol of royalty and divine protection. Cleopatra dresses in her finest royal robes, places the golden crown on her head, and sits on her throne. When Octavian's guards burst into the room, they find her dead, looking as if she were merely sleeping. One of her handmaidens, also dying, is asked, "Was this well done?" She responds with her final breath, "It was extremely well done, as befitted the descendant of so many kings." Octavian won the war, but Cleopatra won the history. He tried to erase her name, but he ended up making her immortal. She was the last person to truly challenge the rise of the Roman Empire, a woman who used every ounce of her intellect and wealth to protect her people and her bloodline. She didn't fail because she was weak. She failed because she was playing a game against an entire empire. As the sun set on the Ptolemaic dynasty, the world changed forever. But the echo of the Queen of Kings still resonates through the marble halls of history. She remains the ultimate symbol of power, a reminder that even when the gods themselves are against you, you can still choose how you fall.